So you notice Hester trying to deal with Pearl in many different ways. Here Hester sought to impose a tender but strict control over her baby, over Pearl, immortality that was committed to her charge, but the task was beyond her skill. As we said, Pearl was not an easy character. She was not amenable to follow rules. She is not flexible. So she needed a different kind of treatment in order to be controlled. After Hester testing both smiles and frowns and proving that neither mode of treatment possessed any calculable influence on Pearl, Hester was compelled to stand aside and permit the child to be swayed by her own impulse, and to give Pearl the space to behave the way she wants because she is uncontrollable. Physical compulsion or restraint was effectual, of course, while it lasted, as to any other kind of discipline, whether addressed to her mind or her heart. So this whole paragraph or these previous pages give us um, an idea about how Pearl looks like. What kind of character is that? So we learn now that Pearl is a different character. Um, she's not just like any other child or a girl. She has some different traits that the writer wants her to have. Um, Something here about the character of Pearl. How soon, with what strange rapidity, indeed, did Pearl arrive at an age that was capable of social intercourse beyond the mother's ever ready smile. So Pearl here was born outcast, manbooth, ba'id, of the infantile world. She was not in touch with any children. An imp, just like a fairy, of evil, emblem and the product of sin. She had no right among christened infants. So, if you notice any kind of irony here that the poet wants to, sorry, the writer wants to communicate. So, Pearl is not supposed to communicate with a Puritan children because they are Christians, because they have been baptized, let's say Muhammadin, yani they are real Christian people. So Pearl, as far as she is an outcast, she is not supposed to communicate with those people. She is supposed to remain isolated from them, as if the writer tries to say, well, i I want to tell you that it is quite the reverse, that Pearl is the good person, is the normal person, while the others are bad. That's why I don't want her to communicate or get mingled or mixed with them. So this is the impression we get from the writer, and this is related to his attack on Puritanism. So he doesn't even want Pearl to communicate with those people. Nothing was more remarkable than the instinct, as it seemed, with which the child comprehended her loneliness. So she accepted the fact that she is to live lonely, the destiny that had drawn an inviolable circle round about had the whole peculiarity in short of her position in respect to other children. Never since her release from prison had Hester met the public gaze. So, when Hester left the prison, she has not met the public people, the community, and their own looks without Hester with her. In all her works about the town, Pearl too was there, first as a baby in her arms, afterwards as a little girl, small companion of her mother, and tripping along the rate of her footsteps, she saw the children of the settlement on the grassy margin of the street. And those people used to do these activities. But we need to highlight this issue: how Pearl reacts towards Puritan children. Pearl saw and gazed intently on the Puritan children, but never sought to make acquaintance. She doesn't want to get any relations with those people. If he's spoken to, she would not speak. If the children gathered about her, as they sometimes did, Pearl would grow positively terrible in her panic wrath. She starts to be very angry with the Puritan children who try to come and communicate with her. She starts what? Snatching up stones, تلتقط الأحجار, and fling at them with a shrill صياح, incoherent exclamations that made her mother tremble because they had so much the sound of a witch's and anathemas in some unknown tongue. حتى يعني even her mother would get sometimes terrified and scared from Pearl's behaviors towards those children. The truth was that the little Puritans, being of the most intolerant brood that ever lived, had got a vague idea of something outlandish and earthly. Um, this is another point to be added to the character of Pearl. And even her mother sometimes does not gets or understands her identity. Sometimes she is very strange, very scary, very horrifying. Um, Gazing at Pearl, Hester dropped her work upon her knees and cried out with an agony which she would feign, but which made utterance of itself. O Father in heaven, if thou art still my Father, what is this being which I have brought into the world? Hester is invoking, is asking God, and Pearl, hearing her words, um, a reference here by no means, but that first object of which Pearl seemed to become aware was, shall we say it, the Scarlet Letter. Hester, when she grew a little bit old, she started noticing the Scarlet Letter. One day, as her mother stooped over the cradle, the infant's eye had been caught by the glimmering of the gold embroidery about the letter, and putting up her little hand, she grasped it, smiling not doubtfully, but with a decided gleam that gave her face, etc. Then gasping, so infinite was the torture inflicted by the intelligent touch of Pearl's baby hand. So now she started, the writer tries to give us an idea that she is old enough to distinguish and discuss and talk and feel what is this and what is the significance of this letter. Um, Here again, it was a face fiend-like, full of smiling malice, yet bearing a semblance of features that she had known full well, though seldom with a smile and never with malice in them. It was as if an evil spirit possessed the child. This is how Pearl is sometimes changes from a normal person into a different person, a different character that even her mother feels scared and she doesn't know her. Um, Then, at the end of the chapter, the writer tries to give us some information about the kind of relationship between Hester and her daughter. They start discussing in just like a conversation. Child, what art thou? Cried the mother. Oh, I am your little Pearl, answered. But while she said, Pearl laughed and began to dance. Art thou my child? In a very truth, asked Hester. Are you my child? So, as if they are mocking each other and laughing and discussing these ideas. Yes, I am little Pearl, repeated the child. Thou art not my child, thou art no pearl of mine, said the mother half playfully. يعني ده تلعب وياها وتضحك. For it was often the case of the sportive impulse came over her in the midst of her deepest suffering. Tell me then what thou art, and who sent thee hither. Tell me, mother. Now, Pearl starts interrogating her mother about how she came here. Said the child seriously, coming to Hester. Do thou tell me, what are you and who sent you here? And she is thirsty for some details. She wants to learn something. So the mother answers, Thy heavenly Father sent you. So this is connected to some idea mentioned in chapter 2 or 3, when we said that the writer tries to evoke and give some connotation about Hester, just like when she's compared to Virgin Mary, as if she is a kind of another Mary. As far as they have the same situation, she has Jesus, who was born with no father, and here we have Paul, and who is also born with a father, but we don't know who he is now. So yani a kind of similar situation. So thy heavenly father sent you, answered Hester, but she said it with the hesitation that did not escape the acuteness of the child. The child is playful, and she understands her mother. He did not send me here, cried she. But I have no heavenly father. Hush, Pearl, thou must not talk so, answered the mother. And then, a child, when sometimes gets, let's say, إلح, in order to get some information, tell me, repeated Pearl, no longer seriously, but laughing and capering, moving, jumping here and there. It is though that must tell me, so you need to tell me this. So the chapter ends with these information. In order to finish everything in this chapter, the writer tries to give us an idea about who Pearl is and how she is portrayed in this chapter. First, in order to talk about the importance of the chapter is very important in showing a new character, the character of Pearl, a very important character in divulging many of the events of the novel and pushing the plot forward and highlighting the topic of the adultery and the Scarlet Letter. So the writer here shows the character of Pearl as a character and as a symbol. It also gives us an idea about how strong that character is, especially in terms of her attacking the Puritan children when she starts snatching stones and throwing on them in order to defend herself and her mother. And in her attempt um, to discover or to uncover the meaning of the Scarlet Letter and its significance, when she started pointing on Hester's chest, bosom, and finally in insisting on her mother في الملح على أمها, in order to learn how she came here. So يعني when she says how I am sent here, I don't have a heavenly father, this indicates that she tries to learn something about why she is living with her mother only. She's supposed to be brought here by a father, but where is the father? So she tries to get these information from her mother, but the mother would not tell such kind of classified information. So this is the significance of chapter 6, entitled Pearl. Thank you.